on the following communique. The national leader, Chief R.F. Fashoranti, in view of his age at 95 years, has decided to step aside as the national leader and to hand over the leadership to another committed, highly cerebral Aoist, somebody who has been in the system since the days of Papa Awolowo and whose credibility cannot be questioned, particularly in regards to his love for Yoruba race. And that is in person of Chief Ayo Adebanjo. And call on the governors of the Southwest to give the Amotekun cause the necessary bite to carry out its mission. It's also emphasized the need for the establishment of the state police.
Hello and thank you for joining us on our Tuesday edition of Journalists Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, federal government tells parents and guardians to be vigilant, says it cannot secure all schools. Governor Sanwo-Olu approves 21-year jail term for cultists in Lagos State. Inflation hits 17.3%, the highest in 4 years, as unemployment rate hits 33%. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Sam Ibemere. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. We'll start the program on everybody shout out to our commercial director, Ronald Redmond. He clocked another year today. Hi, it's Ronald's birthday, Babajide.
Yes, it's his birthday, and it's a day to show him that he's loved and that his work as a true servant of TVC is appreciated. So I say a hearty congratulations to my friend.
That's the man that turned the face of the commercial department of TVC.
Yes, he's a tremendous money hunter. That's how I like to describe
Flexible.
him. Yes, money hunter. That's who he is. Congratulations to Ronald.
So, on behalf of Journalists Hangout and crew, we wish Ronald Redmond happy birthday. Not also forgetting one of our own, our colleague and my protege in the political desk of TVC, that's Ademola Lawrence. Happy birthday, Demola. Demola Lawrence, it's your day. Jide, Demola today is his birthday too.
Yes, he's a nice bloke. He got his big baptism of fire in Akwa Ibom when he was decked by political thugs.
2015 election.
I'm sure that experience, 2019, that experience will live with him for a long time. When you are throwing a young reporter onto the political scene on an election day in a volatile area.
He was beating blue-black.
His eyes were bloodshot on the day. But I'm happy that Nigerian security forces rose to the occasion, and the attempt to rig the election in Akpabio's local government was frustrated. And in the end, the people who beat up Ademola were put to shame because Akpabio lost the election roundly.
TVC commercial director, Ronald Redmond.
Ronald Redmond is 55 today.
Oh,
happy birthday.
Big Ronald. Happy birthday, Ronald. Moving on now. In what appears to be resigning to fate, the federal government has emphasized the need for Nigerian parents and guardians to be vigilant in the face of attacks on schools and abduction of students. The Minister of State for Education, Chukwuemeka Wajuba, insists that government cannot secure every school in the country. This is very, very weighty, Babajide.
Yes.
The 1999 Constitution is giving the primary responsibility for the protection of life and property as the first function of the government. And if that same government is now saying, parents, guardians, you need to be vigilant because we can't guarantee your safety. This is where we are in Nigeria today.
It's terrible. It's terrible. It is the responsibility of government and the armed forces to protect our people. We can't push back that responsibility to the parents. Parents should feel relaxed that once they have dropped their children at school, that the security of that school will be handled by other people. That's the government and the
management of the school.
Management of the school, and as well as the armed forces, as well as the police. But if we are telling parents now, it's not a matter of vigilance. It's not a matter of vigilance. A lot of parents are involved with their own work. They are working. Maybe you are a banker now. You're far away from where your child is.
How will I be vigilant? Somebody within AK-47.
That's what I'm even saying. You are even far away. So when you are far away, there are some parents whose children are schooling in Lekki, and their workplace is on the mainland. You know? So what kind of vigilance can that parent ensure? He's already left the child to other people to protect. So it's not a matter of vigilance. The other day someone said Nigerians should rise up and defend themselves with bare hands against people going about with GPMG, against people who sometimes even kill soldiers with
RPG,
AA, anti-aircraft guns. So how do parents now? Because it's talking about vigilance, I just don't get it. We've got to do our best to secure our schools, because I was reading about how security has literally collapsed in our country, and I saw that in 3 months, 692 students were abducted. During this period, and up to now, 42 are still in captivity, because you kidnap students and some of their teachers are still in captivity, as well as the students. 42 still in captivity, and the northern elders are saying, look, things are degenerating fast. We've got to come up with a solution. The president has to do something quickly, and the people around the president, including governors now, they've got to call a meeting. That, Mr. President, what can we do? Someone was suggesting the other day, and I agree, that at this time, some of our elder statesmen, including Olusegun Obasanjo, who amongst them is the most rugged, you probably will need
to work with
their input at this time. The president, no matter what Obasanjo had done in the past, all those letters went to ruffle feathers and all that within the presidency. The president acknowledged in his Obasanjo's 84th birthday goodwill message that Nigeria still needs his wisdom, his experience and all that. So if the president can admit that, nothing stops him from calling a meeting of all these past leaders and asking them, how best do we handle this situation? Because it's now glaring that we are approaching a very, very dangerous turn, and we must take the right decision to deal with this menace.
Sam, a region that was hitherto tagged as education at disadvantaged region, that they are still trying to encourage people. That's why we have all the quota system, what we have in JAM and WAEC and everything, and common entrance, just to encourage people. Now, what is happening in the north now? Is it not targeted at collapsing the educational system?
I would say targeted. It's already collapsed. I've been situation, and one is tempted to ask, what has become of the Safe School initiative? Is the government also abandoning that
I think it's
project out to parents? The fact of the matter is that the security of lives, the welfare of the city, the devil finds work for idle hands. So the government has to act, and very quickly too. We can no longer pretend that we can paper over this challenge.
No, actually, I don't.
He was talking about the Safe School initiative, and was trying to put some things together, because at that time, the Safe School initiative came up in response to the abduction of the Chibok girls.
Yes.
And we chose an auspicious event, the World Economic Forum meeting, to announce that we were coming up with the Safe School initiative. And about 500 schools were supposed to be captured. The goal was to keep students and pupils in a secure environment, because we were supposed to pick up a valuable lesson from the Chibok abduction. And the goal of the Safe School initiative was to move children from volatile areas to areas that are safe. You look at a place like Borno State, for example, and I've given that example before. The federal government college, federal government guest college, Monguno, their unitary school, they moved the school to the state capital. They are now occupying the Muhammadu Buhari Academy. Very beautiful school, more beautiful than some universities. That is because Monguno in Borno North, the last local government at that edge of Nigeria, and with only Monguno town being the only town where people are living in, the only town that is safe in the whole of that local government, you cannot allow that school to continue, because the students must move on by road from wherever, from Borno State capital to Monguno, which is at the edge of the state. So if you kept that school, many of those students will have been kidnapped. But the government has done the right thing to relocate them to the state capital, an environment that is beautiful, that ensures that those students are safe. That was also one move that they made to ensure that unity school was not lost. We've lost students to Boko Haram attacks. Now bandits. Remember the fate of those students in Buniyadi that were slaughtered in their sleep. So, and that was in 2014. Now we are in 2021. Attacks on schools have not stopped. In fact, they are now on the rise. If you look at what has happened in one day in Kaduna, 3 different schools were attacked in just one day. The same day that the
bandits seem to be running riot in Kaduna.
Yes, and it looks deliberate because of the some of what the governor said. They now felt, okay, you are the one leading the campaign that they should not pay amnesty to us. By the time we ensure that you don't have peace, we'll see what to do for you. There's nothing El-Rufai has said that was wrong, in my view. I still believe that we should trust our armed forces to get the job done.
It's taking time.
We can't be begging. We can't be begging criminals. We can't continue to pay criminals. It's not sustainable. At the end of the day, if you apply military action and you're able to crush them, they are the ones who will beg for mercy. But if we keep negotiating from a position of weakness, they will keep waxing stronger. Can you imagine bandits going to the heart of Kaduna town, trying to kidnap children of a Turkish international school? You know, so how many schools are we going to shut? Because I really don't know how Schools now, even in Kano State, they took a decision to shut some schools. And Kano is the safest state in the whole of the Northwest, one of the safest in our country now. You hardly hear of even kidnapping and other things. Insurgency is not happening in Kano. You hardly hear of attacks and all that. Now we are closing schools in nearly all of the Northwest. Our children will suffer until we are able to find the solution to this problem.
When I look at the level of infrastructural deficits that we have in the country as a whole, look at what we have in the south, look at what we have in the south. Not to talk about the little we had in the north, and it has been broken down now. It will take years. It will take another generation. When you talk about Yobe, when you talk about Borno states, the level of destruction that has taken place in those areas.
You're basically repeating the very obvious. And I want to believe that it's that level of destruction that led government into setting up the North-East Development Commission with hope that the massive destructions in that part of the country, will be redeemed. But you and I know that so much, has gone on that. Schools have been destroyed, hospitals have been destroyed, bridges have been destroyed. In some locations, you can't access, different, certain local government areas and all that. So it's massive destruction. And even if you have all resources, the safety, the security is not even there. So even if you have the money, the guys have made these places ungovernable. So even if you award contracts, how safe will it be for the contractors to go in there and effect those repairs that you're talking about?
Look at the power mast.
Everything. So it's going to set the northern part of Nigeria, especially the northeast part, the northeastern part of Nigeria.
It will probably take 40 years to rebuild.
So many years.
So
many years. Because the guys, appear to feel that the region has become very vulnerable. And like has been said, they basically stroll in there, commit heinous crimes, and then just return. So we're only hoping that the different strategies that government is laying out to combat or contain terrorism and banditry will yield some results. That is the only time you can hope that development will return to that part of the country, no matter the amount of money. If you don't have safety, if the place is not secured, contractors can't go in there and effect any form of repairs or development. It's a sad situation.
Parents are even being convinced in northern Nigeria to let their children go to school. I've seen Governor Rufai threaten that parents that send their children out hawking all kinds of items, those children will be apprehended and their parents will be arrested and jailed. Now, where schools are clearly unsafe, what can you do to those parents? Can you force them?
When they have even started picking up primary school,
can you force them to send their children to school? Look at this. Now you decided to shut the boarding schools. We said too that, look, given the unsafe nature of most of the Northwest, that you cannot sustain boarding schools. But now they are going after their students. In Katsina, they were closing for the day. On their way home, they were kidnapped. So it's not even whether you close the boarding schools or not. They want to find a way to still go to those day schools and pick up people. So these guys are enemies of our country. They have dared our country. They've dared the full might of the armed forces. They've dared the full might of the state. And what will make sense is to show them that, look, you cannot defeat the state. I've not seen where an individual defeated the state or a group of individuals. The state is bigger than any one or group of people. We have to serve justice to these individuals without sentiment, without sympathy. The longer we keep them...
Why is it taking us time, Babajide?
I don't understand. I don't understand. This thing is not, and I'm not talking about half measures. I'm not talking about half measures. A comprehensive military operation, the type that we saw the Chadians do to Boko Haram on the fringes of Lake Chad. See the number of armored vehicles that they used for that operation alone. And it took them days. They waited for this, about 5-6 days, just to make sure that they achieved their mission. So this is the sort of thing that we should do to these guys. I don't believe that simply cherry-picking locations where we drop 1 or 2 bombs is the solution.
Constant.
We've got to
badness.
We've got to launch a military attack. If it takes months, so be it.
And make an emphatic statement. That's the point.
Yes.
That's the point that is being made. You know, and I think.
Well, what do you think the government is waiting for?
The last time I was there, I talked about the political will to act in some respect, and sometimes I feel very strongly that there's a grand cover-up. I've said that severally, and I've been very frank.
Do you think some people are negotiating them through back doors so that they'll give them time to have a change of heart?
No, I don't.
Haven't
Even
you heard about Gumi and moving on?
Even Gumi, see Gumi. You know, you see, Gumi does not have a good relationship with the present government. Everyone knows that he doesn't like Buhari. Go and read some of his interviews. Some of the things that he said about the president could make people hate the president. Now, if he's going around appearing to be negotiating, how does he come before people who view him with suspicion to say, okay, I've met with these people. This is what they want. Who sent you to negotiate? If they didn't send you to negotiate and you just went, you are on your own. This is the way I see it. And that's why you won't see people, the government appear to take what he's doing seriously.
Okay, I have Afolabi from Ogun State. Thank you for joining us, Afolabi.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead.
I agree with Babajide
and
everybody in the house.
Thank you.
Yes, Nigeria is an emergency situation. What I am expecting the government, in person of the president, to say is that to put an emphasis on unbundle the security peripherals into respective organs and tiers of government. The introduction of state police, local police, security, and the federal policing is now. The president should push the bill to the National Assembly for debate and approval in the settings I explained: local government police, and regional police. When I was young, in the 60s, anti-riot police will dare you when you have problem in the state or in the local in the region. When there are problems, the federal will deploy anti-riot police. Yes. But in this situation now, the local government will handle the schools if properly established.
Thank you, Afolabi. Thank you for your contribution, Afolabi. So, gentlemen, we are still going to be on this situation. We are still going to give updates.
No, I think even the safe school initiative is something that we have to look at again, because some foreign donor agencies came up to intervene with seed money for us to be able to do this. We're supposed to be able to protect at least 500 schools. Honestly. What have we done since 2014? Between 2014, things have become worse. How would they be viewing us? That look, we made contributions to this thing, we made millions of dollars to contribute millions of dollars to this thing, and the situation is getting worse. That means it's either we have not shown enough zeal to make it work, or we are simply doing nothing. Then the rebuilding of schools, what are we also doing? Because those schools have to be rebuilt, a perimeter first has to be done. Remember, it was when Boko Haram invaded the University of Maiduguri, that we started putting the wall around such a school. You know, so sometimes our inactions allow these guys to get away with blue murder.
All right. Now, there is no more hiding place for court members in Lagos State. Convicted cultists in the states will now spend 21 years in jail after Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu signed the Prohibition of Unlawful Societies and Cultism 2021 bill into law on Monday. Now, when we were in the university, we saw the activities of cultists and everything. So after finishing school, I now discovered that it has been deregulated. Now you now find areas, you now find blackouts, different funny names, unemployed youths, jobless youths. Now, when you go to the areas like Mushin, Ikorodu,
Solere, Ajegunle,
they're so active there now.
Yeah, they are, and that is why I think that the first thing that we should do is to commend, the governor of Lagos State and members of the House of Assembly for, enacting this law. There will always be defiance in every society, and the only way you can check, such acts will be to ensure that you have the right laws to checkmate such unruly behavior. So the governor gets my commendation for acting swiftly. It's a clear signal to parents that they should keep their children in check
21 years
and all that. It's a shame, really. Like you said, almost every part of Lagos, if it's not Aye, it is Eye. If it's not Akala in Mushin, it is the 1 million boys in Ajegun, all over Lagos. And you find, all over the place, in Shita, where some of us reside, all over the place. And the guys just basically, make life uncomfortable for citizens. So we hope that the law that has been enacted is going to... Oh yes, of course. Each time there's a clash, you find them, whipping out some very dangerous weapons, that will scare the daylight of anyone. So we hope that there will be enough sensitization, carried out by and enforcement, carried out by government in respect of this law that has just been enacted.
How did you get to this place in a state like Lagos State? That's, I don't understand. In spite of the religious organizations, in spite of, do you understand, all around Lagos, you still find that you still have secret cults.
Even within religious organizations, there are secret cults. So to imagine that because we have churches, we have mosques all over the place, that there won't be secret cults is foolhardy, because within even those religious groups,
you don't want to go into that.
There are secret cults, and sometimes when members die, we see the sort of drama that happens,
to their burial.
Yes, at their burial and all that. Some of it you cannot even talk about on air, So this is something that had been there for some time, but the most disturbing part of it is that cult groups are now in our secondary schools in Lagos. Cult groups are now in our primary schools. They start from primary schools now, and then in secondary schools you have them. The NURTW people, the motor boys, they have their cult groups. The Akomoron, the Association of the Tricycle Riders, the Okada Riders, motorcycle taxi, or as they are called in other parts of the world, they also have cult groups. So Lagos has somehow become the capital of cultism. In the different parts of Lagos, you have different cult groups. Agege, the Awawa boys are reigning supreme. You go to other places, Shomolu, Bariga, cultists are taking up one another. You go to Ikorodu appears
like
to be
their headquarters.
Headquarters.
and for a long time, the law enforcement agents try to address the problem in Lagos, but clearly we had not succeeded in putting an end to the nonsense that these cultists...
and they keep initiating people.
Now, there was a video that went viral of a guy that was cornered by another cult group, and they were accusing him of this and that. And while he was trying to defend himself, explain what happened, there was this guy with a shotgun. He just fired him straight shot to the head.
Wow.
As if you were watching a movie.
Wow.
Or a video from South America, So it's disturbing. In December in Abeson Estate, 4 persons died in one day. We've lost dozens of young people to cultism in Lagos in the last 1 year. And I'm not surprised that the governor has now felt that, look, it's about time that this was addressed. Now, there are some, for the first time too, you are seeing a law that seeks to hold parents responsible for the actions of their children.
Yes.
Now, in this law, parents of cultists, once those cultists are apprehended and put on trial, the parents risk going to 15 years in jail.
Good.
Whether that is sustainable on the basis of fundamental human rights, because where you have not seen to have committed an offense, it may be difficult.
Your children.
Yeah, but if it wasn't the parent that committed the offense, how you want to jail a parent for as much as, especially if that person was already an adult? And so we are talking about underage kids who found themselves in cult groups. But for maybe the parent of a 20-year-old, for example, a 21-year-old whose character is already formed, who is already an adult, how do you jail the parent
Vicarious
for 15 years? Because it's not in all cases that vicarious liability can be adduced in court. It's not in all cases.
The Bible says, train up your child.
Yes, but there are some children too who, even though their parents don't see them, they leave the home to go and join bad company and refuse to come back home. There are children who even attack their own parents and try to kill their parents. We've seen children who kill their parents. So you've got to be able to prove that, oh, this particular parent abetted the child, abetted the bad conduct of the child, did nothing, did not attempt to steer the child on the right path. And that will be, in court, I can bet that will be extremely difficult. You can't simply jail someone for a child that's already an adult, because a lot of the people...
We have situations where some parents even report their words.
Yes.
They go to police station.
I've seen parents hand over their children.
Yes, they have them arrested.
And I've seen a child who was handed over like that, who came back to kill the dad. The dad was even a pastor. He came back, murdered him. So it's terrible, the sort of things going on. But I agree with them, and I can see the wisdom, the logic. They're just trying to make parents, because laws sometimes
I think that's the
are
intention.
designed to serve as a deterrent, not to get people to not do certain things. That's the basic intention of the law. So parents will now do their best to ensure that
bring in their children.
Yeah, they bring up their children the right way, do their best to ensure that their children do not join bad company, do not become cultists and all that. But the issue of 15 years in jail for a parent, I don't know how.
But of course, Jide, these things are going to be tested in court. So it's not like once a case is before the courts, the person just walks straight into jail. So one would expect that, like you said, the intention, it's just going to play your role. The idea is to get parents to ensure that going forward, you just don't allow your kids to live, recklessly, and then constitute themselves into some kind of nuisance to the rest of society. So it's a good move. The government doesn't intend to put everyone in prison is basically to deter people. It wasn't made for anyone. It's once you run foul of the law, this is what is going to confront you. So I think that
a lot of those boys don't even go home anymore.
Yeah.
If you have ever passed
Just
where
sleep under the bridge.
yes, if you have ever passed where they had problem and they are fighting, you understand
it's
what I'm
total
saying.
war. It's
You
total
go
war.
to areas like Fadeyi,
That tough war.
that's from the left area to the other side of Fadeyi. They will come to Ikorodu
and-
yes,
and-
come to Ikorodu Road and they will turn it to Ikorodu Road to shooting.
You know, the risk of it all is that if this is not contained, it could snowball into a bigger security challenge, not just for the state, even for the adjoining states. Because the tendency is for people to want to copy what is happening elsewhere. Remember, Lagos is a potpourri of so
They'll
many
turn us
things.
to Mexico.
Yeah, you know, you have gangs all over the place. From
Not
you
wake
know,
up in the morning, you see them, you
from
found dead
street
bodies.
wars, it could end up into people trying to lay claim to certain territories. That's how it starts, and one expects that the move by the government is going to help to contain the situation. So execution of the law is very important here.
Implementation.
Yeah, very, very important. And a lot of awareness needs to be created because people just take this for granted.
The police have a big job to do. Just yesterday, 4 persons were killed in cult battle in Ikorodu. So we keep hearing about this. And I think that this is the right time to come up with a law like this. But you can actually come up with a law. How about the implementation?
Yeah.
The police have to up their game, because
Somebody says when they disbanded the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, there was underneath it we had the special this anti-cult squad that it was dissolved with it too. So that it's quite difficult. Those guys now, they are now just raining hell on in their various areas, and they have access to guns.
there are other units within the police outside of SARS that can get the job done. I've listed about 7 units within the police that can do what SARS does. 7 units, But the police mobile force, for example, is the elite and probably best trained unit within the police to address issues like this. Even Boko Haram can be confronted by the police mobile force.
They're well trained.
The OC SARS in Maiduguri, a mobile police person, and we saw what he did against Boko Haram, to the point of even rescuing soldiers who were abducted by Boko Haram. So there are other units that were within the police that can step up to the plate. SARS has been disbanded. People shouldn't give us an excuse that, because SARS has been disbanded. Well, of course, people are being arrested. The police, their job has not stopped. They are still doing their job. So, and they must continue to do their job. If we leave these boys, because they are also involved in armed robbery, a lot of the carjacking, attacking of people in traffic is by these boys.
And one chance.
Awawa boys in Agege, and these boys are involved in armed robbery. So if we are able to deal decisively with them, crime will go down drastically. I'm happy that in Lagos they've dealt with criminalities significantly. This is about the major problem that we have relating to crime in Lagos. Kidnapping is not rampant here. Armed robbery is no longer rampant. And the highways are also better police, because you see at night, you see police vehicles on the highway. So that gives you the confidence. Yes, that gives you the confidence. But cultism is a big problem that has to be addressed, and one of the ways to do it is to come up with this kind of law, hoping that enforcement of the law will also be top notch. That's where we have to appeal to the police to do their best to enforce this law and bring anyone arrested to justice.
And finally on the show today, Let's talk economy. Things are falling apart. The latest inflation report published by the National Bureau of Statistics, MDAs, shows Nigeria's inflation rate rose to 17.33% in February from 16.47% recorded in January. This represents the highest inflation rate in the country in 4 years. Double digits, and we've never had it so bad in the last 4 years.
Yeah, not totally unexpected. If you look at the report that was put out by the National Bureau of Statistics,
It's a government agency.
Much of it, has been attributed to, rise in food prices, mostly, and that is the major issue here. And like I said, not totally unexpected, because the last couple of months, or even years, Nigeria has had to live with, challenges in the area of food production, insecurity, people not being able to go to their farms, people being taxed, before they can, carry out agricultural activities. So it was expected. Basically, if inflation is too much money chasing after too few goods, you don't have enough out there. So the little that you have, is priced highly. That's basically what is happening. So for as long as we continue to have insecurity in most parts of the country, and farmers are not able to go to farms, produce what you and I need to eat, and take them to the marketplace, so we will continue to experience, rise in prices of farm produce, cereals, tomato, yam tubers, and the rest of them. So this inflation that we're talking about, basically driven by rise in the price of foodstuff. And you recall that a month ago or thereabouts, you had the blockade, where goods, farm produce meant for the southern part of the country, where there was some kind of blockade, and that created a lot of scarcity in the marketplace. So we hope that things will get better as the security situation improves and people are able to return to the farms. Otherwise, we are going to continue to have this, kind of challenge. Highest in 4 years, speaks, to the dangers we face, Nigeria is facing in the management of its economy.
You more worrisome, our unemployment rates hit 33%, all-time high, 33%. That's, putting that in perspective, you know the number of people that are out of job, and if you're unemployed in this kind of, and you have this kind of inflation rate, 17.3%. There's fire on the mountain, Jide.
There is fire on the mountain. The fundamentals are not strong for the Nigerian economy, and it's really something to be worried about. In fact, Bloomberg, which monitors the global list of countries and their unemployment rate, reports that Nigeria surged to the second highest in the world in terms of unemployment.
Second highest in the
world at 33.3%.
In the world?
Yes. So, and this is also what the MBS is reporting. The MBS, the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, National Bureau of Statistics, is also reporting 33.3. So the Bloomberg figure is not far-fetched. But that figure, the 33.3% on the global list of countries, ranks us second.
Because other countries are grappling with 5%, 6% inflation.
So now what they are saying is that the most active proportion of the population, which is 69.7 million Nigerians, that 1/3 of those guys, 1/3 of that population, they can't find
what to do.
Any work to do. So it's a time bomb. It's a ticking time bomb. It's a ticking time bomb. If we have unemployment rate snowballing in the way we are seeing, a lot of these guys, because in the real sense, a lot of the guys who have taken to
Cultism.
Yahoo,
Yeah.
even unemployment will drive people to cultism.
Yep.
You cannot divorce crime rate from joblessness, because there is a famous saying that an idle hand is the devil's bolster. You know, so the devil finds work for the one who is idle. He starts imagining all kinds of things in his head. What do I do next? Well, today, is it I'm going to sit at home just doing nothing? He's already imagining
something adventurous.
Something just to keep himself busy. Either he's going to rape someone somewhere, or he's going to be on the streets snatching people's bags and all that. You know, just a way of making ends meet. So it's tough. And for the women, the jobless rate is said to be 35.2% compared to 31.8% for men. So the age range of 25 to 34%, I mean 34 years, 37.2 of them
now, the women you're talking about, looking at the category, now we have them littered all over the streets.
It's either as Oloshos or simply as Ron's girls. A lot of them are just Oloshos, you know. And it's difficult to tell a woman who has not found any other way to survive to not succumb to the oldest profession in the world, which is prostitution. Prostitution is as old as mankind, and a lot of our women now see it as the only way to get by. So you see everywhere, Oloshos are everywhere at night, places where you never thought that they will convert to red light district. In the Lagos area have been converted to red light districts. And you see the scarlet ladies simply standing by the roadside waiting for patrons. Unthinkable places. You go to the mall, you see them hanging around just waiting for someone. I don't know how they suddenly began to see the mall as the place to go
to buy things.
Those guys,
buoyant people. Take your ride, you want to go and shop.
Yes, so they are waiting for patrons right there at the mall, and the central business district here, Nalausa, all of those areas, the famous shrine area, all of those places. You are going home at night now, you see them. Before, it was not like that. The streets leading to the shrine area was not a red light district, but that's what it is now. The more things become difficult, the more 33%, the more we are unable to deal with the problem of unemployment. The more people will take to crime. There will be more Yahoo boys. Some of them will even do it brazenly.
Because you don't have alternative.
Yes, there will be more Yahoo boys, and some parents will not see anything immoral in their children being involved in Yahoo business, because those children must survive. Parents too are finding it extremely difficult to get by in the face of rising inflation. You know, people's earnings can barely
sustain
them. It's terrible.
Sam, we have a big problem.
Yeah, we do. The data churned out by the National Bureau of Statistics is so large that if we begin to look at it here, we probably need the entire day. You know, the reality of the matter is that for those who are not very comfortable with figures, it simply tells you that 3.3% simply tells you that 1 out of 3.
1 out of 3
has nothing to do.
I just want to bring it home. And it is worsened by the fact that going through school is not even a guarantee anymore that you're going to secure a job. Let me just share some figures same figures from the National Bureau of Statistics. It says of the about 12 million Nigerians who are OND holders, over 4 million don't have jobs.
And we keep turning them out every year.
I'm putting MDAs, OND. For every 1 out of every 35 graduates doesn't have a job. It's as bad as that. 1 out of every 35. Out of the 5 million.
That's generous.
Yes.
That's generous. I don't think I'll believe that.
One
out of every 35.
You're not talking about 29 out of 35.
So, we just want to ride with the figures that's available. And the same figure says out of about 5.9 million that possess
BSc,
HND, BA, BSc, over 2.3 million don't have job. And it's not because they are not willing and able. They are willing and able, but they can't find jobs.
They can't find jobs.
So the
economy is shrinking and shrinking every day.
The figures are very grim, Ayo. Very grim.
Companies are folding up.
But
So
to be
when
fair,
companies fold up, they throw people into the unemployment market.
But Jide, for the very first time, you talked about Bloomberg. The economic sustainability plan had actually predicted. That's the federal government, economic sustainability plan had actually predicted that 3.6 we are going to be we are going to be unemployed. 3.6% of Nigerians were going to be unemployed by the last quarter of 2020. So it's very disturbing. The figures are very grim. Very grim.
I'll wrap up by saying it is well with
And it's getting worse every day.
It is.
Even the food inflation for January was 20.59%. February 21.79. Who knows what
is going to
will
be
happen in March?
I want to thank you, Sam Ibimere, for your
pleasure
contribution.
always,
Thank you. And BKO, let's keep hoping. And let's keep hope alive.
We need redemption.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Don't forget to join us on Journalists Hangout on Sunday from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. 2 hours, 120 minutes on Sunday. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Bye for now, and please keep safe.